Hey guys, it's Casey. Posting another video. I do apologize. I do have a cold, so I sound a little on the hoarse side. So please be patient with me. First of all, I do actually want to thank all the people that have actually liked and subscribed to my page. It means a whole lot to me. I do ask though, I'm sorry, I do have it wrote down. I do ask though, can you please share my video? Because it may actually help somebody you know. If you want me to make a video about something, please leave a comment and I will try my best to make a video. I was actually requested to make a video on controlling, so this is the video I'm going to make about controlling, and I'm going to share my story. I do want to warn everybody there could be triggers, so if you do feel like it is going to trigger you, please don't watch it. If you watch it, please like it, please share it, please comment, whatever you can do, because if I can help just one person deal with something that they're going on with their life, then I feel like, that's one person that, I've helped, one less person that's going to have to suffer. Now, I do feel like when it comes to controlling people, they always start out passive and then they'll escalate up to being aggressive. My story is actually, my abuser would actually start out by passively saying stuff to me like, oh, you look nice in that outfit, I'll bet you'll get a lot of people's attention, to it slowly escalated to telling me, oh, well, you don't need to wear that shirt because there's a lot of people looking at you, to towards the end of our relationship, I had gone from wearing jeans, dressing nice, wearing makeup, to literally being in a baggy t-shirt and athletic pants, no makeup and everything. And even then, in this outfit, my abuser would tell me, I was still sleeping around with a whole bunch of people. Ironically, the really funny thing about this was my abuser actually, for Christmas every year, would buy me a makeup kit, like every Christmas. Which, looking back now, it's kind of funny because it makes no sense, is he would buy me makeup, but if I wore the makeup, I was automatically out sleeping around with everybody, even if I was literally at home. Because my abuser had gotten to the point to where I didn't hang out with friends, I didn't hang out with family, because it was always a problem. It was always drama, I was always accused of doing something. And so I got to the point I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stay home. I'm not going to hang out with anybody. I'm not going to go see my family because I know it's going to be a fight and I don't want to fight about it. And ironically, the problem I have with that now is I would always actually go to my abuser's family's house with him. And even then, if I would actually socialize and talk to anybody, it was fine and dandy. But the minute we got behind closed doors, I was automatically accused of sleeping with everybody in his family. And I think that was just maybe his own insecurities, or maybe that's just the kind of person he was. Looking back now, I do know it's not my fault. That's just how he was. Sorry about that. But yeah, my abuser didn't let me work. He'd always come up with an excuse for me when I was working. Didn't let me finish school because he had a problem with me going to school. And then the irony in that is actually when he had finally left me, he said part of the reason he left me was because I didn't have a job. And when I confronted him about it, I was like, I had a job. You didn't want me to work. He was like, no, that's not it. I never said that. Like he didn't want me to pull that illusion back and be like, no, I was willing to work. You didn't want me to work. So, I was trying to keep you happy. I said, I do apologize, because I do have a cold. My abuser actually controlled me in several different ways. He controlled me financially, because like I said, I didn't have a job. He controlled me mentally, because he broke down my self-esteem, had me, feeling like I was worthless. And there was times he actually controlled me physically. One of the things he would actually do is if I would actually be with family or friends when we first got together, he would call my phone. He'd be like, well, I miss you. When are you coming over? And if I didn't answer the phone, he would literally call. He would text me, call me all sorts of nasty names. Like, he would blow up my phone. At one point, I think he actually blew up my phone almost 50 times in a 2-hour time period. One of the things he used to actually tell me, if I would go, like, I went with my mom and grandma somewhere one day, he actually called me and was like, well, you're in trouble because you know you're not supposed to leave the house without me. And I was like, I'm with my mom and grandma. And he's like, no, you're out here sleeping around. You know, you're in trouble. I'll deal with you when you get home. You need to get home now. And so I got home, and it was a big ordeal. One of the things he was really notorious for when we would get into fights is sorry guys, anytime I would try to leave, he would take my keys, he would take my phone, and he would hide them from me so I couldn't get to them. There was one specific incident I do remember. My abuser was going to take my keys and my phone from me because we were fighting and I was trying to leave, and he actually slammed me up against the back of the car so hard that I lost control of my bladder. And as he has my arm twisted up behind me, he tells me, you know, this is all my fault. This is why I'm putting my hands on you, is because you shouldn't have tried to leave. You should have given me your keys and you should have given me your phone. And I was like, it's not your vehicle. The vehicle's in my name. It's not your phone. You know, the stuff's in my name. And he's like, no, it's mine. I own you. You're my property. And I believed him, you know, for the longest time. Another thing he was really good at controlling me is, like, there was times when I would try to leave and I was like, look, I'm tired of the situation. I'm going to leave. I don't want nothing to do with the situation. You're not going to change who you are. He would tell me, you know, just remember, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself or I'm going to end up going to lockup, just like last time. Because the one time I had tried to leave my abuser, he actually got sent to lockup for 6 months. And the only reason we ended up back together is because I had found out I was pregnant with my oldest one. And so we ended up getting back together trying to work things out. Another thing he would do is he would use fear. He would tell me, you know, if you ever leave me, I'm going to kill you. You know, if you ever end up with another man, I'm going to kill you. If you ever have another man around my kids, I'm going to kill you. And even when we did separate, he literally would tell me, you know, you better not have anybody around my kids. You better not be with anybody. And when I'd be like, you've moved on, you know, why can't I move on? He'd be like, no, you can't do that. I'm not going to allow it. So even with us not being together, he was still controlling me. One of the things he was really good about doing was he would call me when his significant other was at work. And he would sit there and he'd talk about how much he missed the kids, how much he loved the kids, how much he wanted to see them. And I was like, well, why don't you let me drop them off at your family's house? You know, I'll leave. That way you can see them, you can spend time with them. And he would always use the excuse, well, no, my significant other doesn't want me to do it. When I finally pulled down that illusion and actually yanked that controlling card from him, I told him, you know, if you really love these kids, if you really want to be in these kids' life, then you need to stand up to your significant other. I'm not going to be there. Like, I am more than willing to drop the kids off at your family and leave so you can spend time with them. And he wouldn't do it. He actually ended up cutting all contact off with me at that time. You know, and it was funny because I remember there was times he would call and he would cry about how much he missed these kids and stuff. But when it come to actually having to stand his ground about, you know, wanting to be in this kid's life, he didn't want to do it. Another thing my abuser was really good about doing, which, sorry, that's my dog, was he would control me with fear by stalking me. There was times I could be at a friend's house, he would drive by. I could be out with some friends, he would drive by. There were several times when I moved, he knew where I lived at. And he'd always do this stuff when his significant other was at work. And so when I would say something to her about, you know, him doing this stuff, she would tell me, oh no, you're lying, you know. And at the same time, I realized she was also a victim, you know. She was also being controlled, so he was probably charming her and saying all the right things, so she thought I was just being a bitter ex. You know, and that was funny because even after separating, he still was controlling me, and I still let him control me because I was used to that. I didn't want to change that, you know. We're creatures of habit, you know. I was used to being told what I could do, where I could go, and all this stuff. You know, he finally lost all of the control and the power that he actually had over me when he was in prison. He's actually in prison now. It was when he had called, because he supposedly wanted to talk to the kids, which looking back, it was just, that was, you know, kind of his little controlling game, as that was if I can keep her on this line, pulling it along about me wanting to see the kids and stuff, then I'm still going to have that control. I finally realized that he was in prison. He wasn't able to hurt me. And I actually kind of got my own form of closure in the way on the situation. And I actually told him on the phone, I said, here's the thing. I forgive you for all that you've done wrong. I've forgiven myself for all that I've done wrong in the relationship. I said, but you're no longer going to have that control and that power over me. And he lost it. Like, he didn't know how to react. And I think that's a lot of things of how abusers are, is when they realize they don't have that control, then they don't have that power. Because control and power go hand in hand, in my opinion. And he lost it. And I cut all contact off with him because I thought he was calling to talk to the kids and stuff, but he would ask me, well, do you have a boyfriend? Are you seeing somebody? Do you have anybody around my kids? He was actually on the phone with one of my girls, and I had it on speakerphone, and I had walked in the kitchen and come walking back out, and I heard him ask my daughter, well, does your mom have a boyfriend? Does she have anybody that's around you guys? What's her boyfriend's name? And I was like, how is it you're going to sit here? And I got mad. I was like, how is it you're going to sit here, tell me how much you love these kids, you miss these kids, you want to talk to them, and then when you have the chance to talk to them, you're wanting to know stuff about me. So I took the phone from her and basically was like, look, here's the thing. If you want to call and ask the kids how their day is, you want to ask them how school's going, that's perfectly fine. But what I do in my life is none of your business. I'm a grown adult. You lost every right to know what I do in my life. And I said, and he lost it again. And the controlling effects that I had to deal with, they still bother me to this day. Some of the things I have issues with is, like, there's times I'll take forever to get dressed. Because I literally will sit there and be like, well, I like this shirt, but maybe I need to wear a shirt underneath it. I kind of want to wear these shorts, but, they may be too short. Or I'll be like, well, no, I'm going to look too fat in them, because that's what I've always got told. I was always got told, I was worthless, I was ugly, I was fat, I was hideous, and all this stuff. And that stuff still affects me. One of the incidents that really sticks in my head on how it really, really affected me was the first time I had ever went grocery shopping by myself without my abuser when we had separated. I was in the store with my mom. And I remember standing in this aisle and telling my mom, I don't know what to get. Like, I don't know what to shop for because I'm always used to being told what to get, what to shop for. And it does still affect me to this day because there's times when I go shopping that it literally will take me forever because I want something, but, like, I will sit there and have issues debating on, well, do I really want to get this? Do I really need to get this? Do I need to just not worry about it? Or I'll buy something and I'll be like, oh, I feel bad. Maybe I shouldn't have got this. And the thing is, it's going to get better eventually. Life's full of ups and downs. It's going to get better eventually. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be perfect all the time. You're still going to have your lows. You're still going to have highs. But it's going to get better. I promise you it'll get better, You got to realize that once you tell someone who's controlling you, whether it's a family member, a friend, a significant other or something, once you tell that person that they have no control over you, they lose that power. And it'll get easier on you. And if you do feel like you are in a controlling situation with a friend, a family member, a spouse or something, look it up, really think through about it and just be like, well, is this a healthy situation, And if you feel like, you're in a very controlling situation, then I'm telling you, please, please get out of the situation before it gets any more dangerous, You may just be being verbally controlled at that time, You may just be being emotionally controlled at that time. But it can always escalate. It can always get worse, I started out first being, emotionally controlled. It escalated to being financially controlled, And in between all this, it was being physically controlled. It does get better, guys. And I'm telling you right now, do not give someone the ability to have control over you. Because if you give them that ability and it's not benefiting you, then there's no point in giving them that ability. So don't let anyone control you. Your life is valuable. Nobody has a right to control what you do. Most of all, definitely, please, stay strong and keep fighting.